Normally, I'm not saying that, so, yeah. You have a check for me?
Did you shoot the custodian, you went into the bathroom?
I saw him, yeah, I saw him, yeah, I saw him.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, and published in the Asbury Park Press on January 12, 2018.
Thanks, can you have a roll call, please?
Mayor Coles?
Here.
Let the record reflect that Deputy Mayor Miller and Committeeman Lichtenstein are absent. Committeeman Ackerman?
Here.
Committeeman Delia?
Here.
Everybody please rise for a salute to the flag, please remain standing.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, we humbly ask thy blessings upon this township committee and all those in authority so that they may serve the people. Look down with mercy on our weaknesses and stretch forth your divine power to guide us. All this we ask in thy name. Amen.
Motion open. Moved by Isaac.
Second.
By Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
And open. We have a motion to approve the executive, workshop, and regular minutes of October 11th. You can move it, but you don't have to vote on it.
Same here. I'm not the same. I think I'm seconding.
You can't vote on it either.
Right.
I don't have to carry the minutes to the next meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
All right, so we're going to carry the approval of the minutes to the next meeting. All right, public land sale, Harold?
I'll do it.
Steve?
Is anybody interested in, lot 175, lot 45? Stacy, are you interested in purchasing this? It's only 170. No. Anybody interested in purchasing this?
Where is it?
Where is it? I don't know.
The area of East Kennedy Boulevard is vacant land with no assigned address. All right, going
Okay.
once, twice, that's it. All right, we open the meeting to the public. Anybody who'd like to be heard, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Please keep your comments to 4 minutes.
McGraw, 1433 Laurel Avenue. This is a column that appeared in the New York Times last week. It is not about immigration, it's about bigotry. That's the real story, to the extent there is a story at all, about the caravan of 5,000 impoverished Central Americans rampaging towards the United States border at 2 miles per hour. President Trump, ever chanting spelling, declares this to be a national emergency. He may call out the army. He's talking about sealing the border. So here's some perspective by my back-of-the-envelope calculation. More than 1.4 million foreigners immigrate to the United States each year. If, say, half the caravan reaches the border, and half of those people actually enter the United States, they would represent less than 1/10 of 1% of this year's immigrants. If the caravan proceeds by foot during the period of its journey, 16,800 Americans will die from drugs. In the period of the caravan's journey, perhaps 690,000 Americans will become homeless, including 267,000 children. In the period of the caravan's journey, 8,850 Americans will die from guns, including suicides and murders. In the period of the caravan's journey, perhaps 9,000 Americans will die from lack of health insurance. People die at higher rates when they're uninsured, although there's disagreement about how much higher. Maybe the real national emergency is drugs, homelessness, gun deaths, and lack of health insurance. Trump's trumpeting isn't protecting America, and the number of people is so modest that the issue isn't really even immigration. Rather, it's fear-mongering. Scholars have found that reminding people of dangers makes them temporarily more conservative. So this kind of manipulation can be an effective campaign tactic. Remember the 2014 midterm elections? This is a replay. In the run-up to voting, Republicans ratcheted up fears of a border crisis, with terrorists sneaking in from Mexico to attack us, plus alarms about Ebola and the risk that the outbreak in West Africa could reach America. President Obama, you are a complete and total disaster, but you have a chance to do something great and important. Stop the flights, tweeted Donald Trump at the time. His public health vision. Let Ebola destroy Africa and much of the rest of the world, but try to seal off the United States from infection. Trump also tweeted then that if a New York physician who returned from West Africa developed Ebola, as he did, then Obama should apologize to the American people and resign. And a Fox News contributor, Dr. Keith Abloh, said in a radio broadcast that Obama maybe wanted Americans to suffer Ebola because of his affiliation with Africa rather than America. In the 2014 election, Republican candidates ran hundreds of ads denouncing the Obama administration's handling of Ebola. News organizations chronicled this debate, but in retrospect, they were manipulated, becoming a channel to spread fear and win Republican votes. Politically, this is quite effective. Republicans won sweeping gains across the country and seized control of the Senate. Yet Ebola, like the Central American caravan, is a reminder of the distinction between grandstanding and governing. Obama's technocratic Ebola program was working with France and Britain, plus private aid groups, may have worried voters, but it was effective. Instead of careening around the world to kill millions and devastate the global economy, the Ebola virus was contained and eventually burned out. Good government often turns out to be bad policy, and vice versa. The same is true of immigration. Perhaps the approach to the best American aid programs occurred, getting violent in countries open doors, to reduce the factors that lead people to attempt dangerous journeys to the United States. Yet it's not tangible, it doesn't impress folks. So Trump instead is talking about an expensive wall and about cutting aid to Central America, even though this would have magnified the crisis there and probably be more than what we're seeing. Cutting off U.S. aid to these humanitarian organizations will just put more children into desperation and silence the most persistent critics for reform, said Kevin Ryan, president of the Cumberland House, which assists children in the United States and Central America. It's exactly the world we need. Thank you. You're welcome.
Moshe Zainis, Z-E-I-N-E-S, 112 Elmhurst Boulevard, Lakewood, New Jersey, 08701. So, after I spoke the last time about some driving stuff, I got some positive feedback from people who watched me. So, brought some stuff. I printed out a few papers here from the driver's manual, which everyone was supposed to read before they took a permit test. And many people drive in town, so assuming they should have read this once, but I'll just give them a little refresher. First of all, real quickly, there's two colors on the roads. Seem to be very confusing for many drivers. There's white and yellow. When you're driving on a road that has several lanes, and like a median in the middle, like on the parkway, if you have the right side of the road has a white line. By the way, just to make sure you all know, this is just a public service announcement. Yeah, the right side of the road has a white line. If you have to pull over for whatever reason, you go over the white line. The middle of the road has a yellow line. You never cross the double solid yellow line. So too in Lakewood, like on Lexington Avenue. Someone is stopped at the crosswalk so a pedestrian can walk, regardless of whether or not there is a crossing guard there. If there's someone crossing the street, it's not a good idea to jump the double yellow solid line to go in the opposing lanes to cross. But just two pictures here I want to show. Okay. If you're making a right turn, I was told when I was taking driving lessons by the instructor that I had, when you make a right turn, and this is mainly cars, trucks and buses do go a little bit differently, but cars, when you make a right turn, it's a more sharper turn. When you're making a left turn, it's going to be a wider turn. I know lots of people in town are confused about this. So, when you're making a right turn, sharper. Not too wide, so you're over the double yellow stop line, because that's someone else's lane. If there's a school bus coming that could have your kids on it, not a good idea to drive into that school bus. That's if you're making a right turn. If you're making a left turn, the first thing is yield to oncoming traffic. That means, no kidding, this is a very complicated thing. On Lexington, on 5th Street, everywhere I've been crossing, guys. It's a very complicated thing. First you yield to oncoming traffic. That means you check the other side, make sure no one's going straight. Okay. Then when you're making a left turn, camera again, you go wide, right. Wide enough so you're over the double yellow solid line. Now, if you're on a street that has a left turn lane, and you're making a left turn, spoiler alert, that's where you're supposed to be. I was a crossing guard on Prospect Street one day, and there's a left turn lane there, and there's a development there. Many people who live in that development were going home, and they didn't know what that left turn lane was supposed to be for. It was put in for their use, and they don't have a clue. And one other real quick thing, I have 18 seconds left. 50 feet to a stop sign and 25 feet to a crosswalk, you can't park. It's a state law. So one of the reasons for that is like by 88 and Clifton, for the people making wide left turns, not to drive into the cars on the side. That's why there's no parking.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Welcome back.
Shloy McLean, 180 Nashville. Broadway and Route 9, most dangerous intersection of Lakewood. I asked already a few months ago, I know the light is not coming so fast. You should make temporary over there a ride in, a ride out from Broadway to Route 9. It's dangerous over there. Somebody will get killed. It's just a matter of time, just every weekend, every day. It's a dangerous intersection. Yes, some police give tickets, but that doesn't help. I know that it's not good for the shopping center to make a ride in, ride out from the Broadway. It's not good for them, but I still think it is that safety, and it's just outright dangerous. Something will happen. Every park crash will have a great story when that happens. But by the end of the game, it's not. I don't think it will be good for the shopping center if somebody will get killed, because for them it was more comfortable to not have a ride in, ride out. I'm just mentioning this again. I live over there. It's dangerous, and I know the light is not coming so fast because of the state, but the ride in, ride out should be done. It's a mess up of the township that they didn't align the streets to begin with, and you have to deal with it. You just can't close your eyes. I hope I made my point with that. Then I won't say it's a promise, but I was told that any places where the developers didn't put in sidewalks, the township will come in and put them in, because the planning board for the township didn't make sure that the sidewalk goes in. The residents don't have to suffer. All combined, Broadway, all these streets from Route 9 do not have sidewalks. You have a lot of people, pedestrians walking. There are a lot of people from Brooklyn came in and they're walking. You have the ladies with the strollers, with their hats. It's very nice to see, but they can't walk on the sidewalk because it doesn't exist. You have a development that's going to be a few hundred houses, and coming out Route 9, that strip, that 200 feet, does not have sidewalks. And I don't want to say it's a promise, but I was told that sidewalks will be put in. And if it's going to happen in the future, why not now? People are walking there, and it's dangerous. You're the mayor now, and I got the word from you. I don't know what will happen in January if you're going to be the mayor. You still have 2 months to take care of this. Depends who's going to be the mayor next year, 2 of them are AWOL now. I don't know if they will be, but if they're going to be mayors, don't know if sidewalks will go in. The other ones, we have a chance. But you told me is that it will make sure that the sidewalks go in. And I'm asking you again, I know you have a lot of things, you have Board of Ed, the public, we have to give them a lot of money, but the end of the game is, this was a mess up from oversight, or from the engineer, or from the township committee, or from the planning board, or from the zoning board, that they didn't make sure they gave the developers high density, but they didn't make sure that the little infrastructure, they're so stingy on this little sidewalk that makes a neighborhood safe or not, and they didn't put in. Again, it will be, I think I made my point. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
Remind me of the 200 foot you're talking about, exactly where is that?
Broadway,
Broadway up to Route 9, right?
a Broadway from Route 9, like 2 to 400 feet in. I'm just talking over Route 9. All the streets do not have sidewalks on both sides, and
All right, Pat, would you,
Yep. Thank you.
look into that Broadway, see what we
Yeah.
can do about getting that sidewalk filled in? I don't know if any of the developers are supposed to do it, but if it's that little, we can probably rearrange some stuff. Also, if you talk to Frank Work, ask him to look at the write-in, write-out, come back with a recommendation if it's something that we should consider for a temporary until the work is put in.
Yeah.
I thought we did that.
That's why I want to find out what his
no, that
recommendation
was
is.
from
Did he come back?
Chateau. This is from, sorry.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so we'll see what we can do. Anybody else want to be heard tonight?
This one,
Just need your name and address first, please.
Eliezer Richter, I live on 16 Birch Street. I just wanted to say two things, and then I have something I want to ask for. I think it's very important that the schools, wherever the schools are, it's not necessarily schools, but wherever there's, if it's little kids or older people, I think it's very important that we have, wherever you build a development, there should be equivalently amount of trees and scenery and around the places that people are living. Now another thing I wanted to say was, there's a terrible thing going on in Lakewood. Lakewood is wonderful. I love Lakewood. But there's a terrible thing going on in Lakewood, that in the Lakewood Library once a year they celebrate the immorality. They celebrate deviance. They celebrate LGBT, and they celebrate it in the youth section of the library. So basically, they're teaching kids at a young age to be gay, and I think that's terrible. And I think that if you are the people that represent Lakewood, Lakewood stands for morality. You should. If I was mayor of Lakewood, I would say not in Lakewood. Now, one more thing I wanted to ask was, it's more than a year ago. I proposed this to the previous township manager. Right near the lake, there used to be like a small, like old. There used to be a public bathroom, and I proposed that I wanted to turn that into a concession stand, and I would make a bathroom over there also for the public. Now, Thomas Hensford, he said that it wasn't strong, the facility, so he wanted to knock it down. So they already knocked that down, but I wanted to know if I would be able to, let's say, rent, the same place that it was, that small thing, make like a small concession stand, which will be also public bathrooms, we'll have on both sides. And it'll be, that's what I wanted to ask.
Oh, okay. I know we looked at your proposal, and we thought it was a good idea, but the structure that was over there was just beyond repair.
Right. So I'm asking to build a new one.
Right. I don't recall, Pat, do you remember if we were looking at putting something up there now?
We were actually looking to do something ourselves, and that's why that got kind of put off.
All right, so Pat's just new on the job, so he'll have to take a look and see where we're at. But I think it's a good idea, it's something that would be very useful over there. So hopefully in the near future we'll do something with it.
I'll look into it, and then I'll get back to you. We have your information from the property.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
But going back, what you said about the library.
Yeah.
They're not teaching people what to be. What they're trying to do is teach tolerance for everybody. that we should all accept people for who they are and what they are.
But no,
not look
but
down at them.
no,
So
I'll tell you something. I want to tell you something. I don't look down at gay people. I'm not being against someone who's gay. Is not. There's a very big difference between someone who's Jewish, Muslim, and someone who is. There's two things. If my father was Jewish, and I am Jewish, and I look at someone else that his father was Muslim and he's Muslim, so then I have negativity against the human being. I don't have any negativity against the human being. My negativity is that he's promoting something that's not pro-family. Okay, he's promoting kids, promoting not only kids, he's promoting.
You have to wrap up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not just doing it. It's also the being. Why do they have to let the whole world know about it? And you know,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Just wanted to express my feelings on that point as well.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
I'll tell you something. I love.
Please, the other people, your 4 minutes are up. I have to
Okay, I'll finish with this. The people that do it.
Please let room the next for the person to come up, please.
Yeah, I don't know if there's
I'm
another
happy to
person
talk
on
to
the
you
list.
after the meeting.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Aaron Weinstein, lifelong Lakewood resident, been here over half a century. When I was born in Lakewood, there was only Jew on my block. When I left, there was a less Gentile on my block. I would like to say that 2 minutes is more than enough to speak. You're doing a wonderful job. The Wawa on Squantum Road on County Line facing west, they made a right turn lane to get onto Squantum, which was a great idea, but they put a red light there. Versus letting the traffic flow, they stop everybody, and I don't know who thought it out, but they really made a mistake. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. 40 seconds is more than enough time.
Tell him.
I think he's giving me some real time.
I don't think so. In fact, you're using up your own.
Good evening, Aaron Hirsch, One Place at This week has come to our attention that we do have a vulnerability in the Jewish community after what's happened last week. And we realized even more so in the Orthodox community, in the synagogue, in the shul, because people in the Orthodox community don't carry phones, and they wouldn't be able to call for help right away. Now, I understand that the state of New Jersey does not allow for individuals to have a carrier, to be able to carry their weapon, carry a gun. There's very strict laws against that, right? You have to really go through a loop. The commissioner, the judge, they get approved. It's a big process. The problem is this: there was a meeting this week with Mayor Lichtenstein and the chief and some other people from the county discussing options. And they said basically hire security guard. Now let's be realistic. There's probably hundreds of shuls and yeshivas in town. It's not realistic. There's a serious crisis going on there. That's finished. Now everyone knows about this. It's not like one guy, once someone does it, now all of a sudden the crazy stuff coming out of the woodwork. Like, oh my gosh, just realized that. And now it becomes a new target. That's really scary. So we have to seriously think about maybe other options, whether getting people trained, whether meeting with particular congregations, be able to do something, because we need to, this is a very serious situation. People's lives are, I know right now, you need to be able to go to the state and start advocating on behalf of people, be able to work something sensible out. We can't tell every synagogue to go hire a full-time security guard. It's just too much money. It's not really realistic. Okay, so, the other things I have in my mind. Okay, I didn't see any groundbreaking this year. A year and a half, we had the ceremony that we were opening up Vermont, and that was before elections, and I guess, yeah, it was just a promotion, just because, I'm surprised I didn't see any ribbons this year. I guess we shouldn't be holding our breath for that, just words, I guess. I have a question of new houses, and we're talking about probably over 10,000 new kids. We didn't have service campuses for that, there's really no plan, and it's a little disappointing that we don't have a plan for that. Now, my last question, my last comment is based on, I've been in business for many years, and if I fire someone, I might give them some compensation. If someone quits, not capital then. If someone has a contract that's supposed to give 2 weeks notice, they need to get 2 weeks notice. They should be held responsible. Someone quit, he gets compensated, and then you build a taxpayer and it's going to go for 300 grand. So it sounds more like a hush money to me, but it's really, it's really fun. It's not cool that you gave it to him. I don't know how government operates in this town, apparently it's not the way it's supposed to. You paid someone a year and a half forward and lots of money. When he quit, he didn't give notice. I mean, it's unheard of. The system is really broken. Just, if he has something to say, the people in the town have a right to know what's going on, if he knows something's going on. He shouldn't be paying such crazy large amounts of money. And we really thought we needed accountability. The transparency lacks tremendously, and we really need something to change that.
Thanks, Al.
I think we should start saying, have you carried it out?
I don't think that's a good idea.
How's it gonna come out?
Aaron, I was at that meeting, along with some of the other folks on the committee, and there were a lot of suggestions made. That was one suggestion from one person. Other suggestions were to see if there could be a dispensation given for one person in each congregation to carry a cell phone and services on Shabbos, so that if something did come up in a life-threatening situation, you'd be allowed to call out to see. A lot of different things were discussed. There are several agencies, the FBI, Homeland Security, state and federal, state police, all working in town, looking at different things, assessing different areas of threat. They're not going to tell me what's going on because that is an operation that's supposed to be kept quiet. So I can tell you that there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of discussions that have been had. There's a lot of discussions that have to be had. So that at some point in time, you'll have people coming to the different shuls and schools and discussing things. So we talk about hardening the schools to make it harder for people to get in, whether that be just the way the doors are locked or security. So there's a lot going on, so please don't give anybody the idea that we're just saying, well, that we can do. There's a lot.
I got out of
lot being done.
I got out of the clip, like we hire security guards.
Well, let's not flip out of the 2-hour meeting. I don't want this to be back and forth. I'll answer your question. As far as the discussion at the end, it's a personnel matter. I'm not going to discuss it. I'm sorry. All I can say is that anything that was agreed upon by all 5 township committee members, was unanimous, and that's how the decision was rendered. So from that standpoint, that's all I can say on it. And it must be the 18-hour day, but what was your middle question? Oh, the campuses and stuff. Pat and I were talking on Friday last week to have our tax assessor go through. We're looking to add areas in town to put parks, because again, that's a need that I think we have. And there's a few areas in town that we're looking to do that. In addition, I told them that I wanted to look at all the available property the township still has. Speaking as one of 5 people, I would not be in favor of selling any parcels of land that the township still has for residential development. What I want to do is to maximize the amount of space we have and make it available for schools and shuls, which I've been saying for years. I think the biggest challenge that this community faces as it grows is availability for schools for the kids in town. It's my #1 priority. It's about the only thing, rather than a small parcel that can't be developed for anything else, that I would consider selling township property for. So again, I don't have a formal plan to show you, but it is being discussed. It is a priority for the township committee, because we know that schools are needed. We also need to talk to the towns around us, where we have hundreds of families and thousands of kids potentially in the next couple of years, to look at the idea that some of those towns need to start providing, I should say, some of the infrastructure that's so necessary for the community to grow and thrive. So we are looking at a lot of this stuff. Just because I don't have a chance to discuss it with you all the time, please don't think that it's not on our minds as well. It is.
Fair, Vermont Avenue,
It is.
Vermont Avenue, you want to explain Vermont Avenue, what's holding it up?
Permitting. We were told that the permits would be ready by the end of last year. There was another round from the Department of Environmental Protection that said we want another study. Remington and Burning told us it should be cleared up. It's an embarrassment to me that we held a ceremony to say we'll be building it soon, but it is going to happen. Hopefully early in next year we get the final permits. So that's my answers for you, sir.
May I say something, Mayor?
Of course.
I have been the coordinator of emergency management, and now the assistant coordinator of emergency management. That meeting that was held the other day is nothing new. We are constantly having meetings. Surprised you didn't realize that we have a problem that we've been addressing for years. Just because we don't broadcast it doesn't mean that we are not aware of the situation in Lakewood. We're monitoring it, constantly on top of it, we're drilling on it.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Aaron. Anybody else? All right, we'll close the public portion. Thank you all. Consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda anybody wants to remove? If not, can I have a motion on the consent?
I'll second.
All right, moved by Mike, second by Isaac. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman,
Yes.
Committeeman Delia,
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes. Ordinance for second reading. Ordinance 1, I'd like a motion to carry it to the next meeting. There are still some outstanding legal issues that have to be cleared up before we're going to second read this.
So I'll make a motion. to
I'll
carry it to the
second.
next-
Moved by Isaac, second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Date specific, Mayor.
I'm sorry, November
29th.
26th, 29th? November 29th? Thank you.
Roll
Roll
call.
call?
Committeeman Ackerman,
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes.
Motion
Ordinance
carries.
2.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean State of New Jersey, authorizing the conveyance and execution of a deed of a fee simple interest from road widening from a portion of Lot 1, Block 337, James Street.
Open the meeting to the public. Anybody like to be heard?
Yeah, what is this?
Name and address, please.
No,
you're not.
What is this ordinance all about?
It's to provide area for a turning lane, if I'm not mistaken. Was it this the one, Carol?
It's a widening of James Street. The county has requested, there's a shul that was approved on a neighboring property, they're giving some property, and the county came to us and requested a 5 foot, I believe, it's to widen it at the intersection of James and Ridgeway.
So, you giving over property or somebody's giving you property?
This one, we're giving the county a little bit of property so they can widen the road.
So the property is owned by the township, that corner?
The lot,
Or there's a lot by the corner that is owned by the township?
it's block 337, it's lot 1, I think it's 1.84 acres in total, and it's owned by the municipality, they're asking for a portion of that. About 5 feet to widen the road, it's a road that big.
It's the opposite of a street vacation.
You should be in favor.
What? Listen, it's owned by the township, so you're not giving anything to a private person.
No,
It's
so
owned
the
by
county can widen the street.
The county, so it's technically, it's owned by the public, going to the public.
Correct.
I just want to know what it is, I just don't have any questions for the counties. Thank you.
Motion.
Anybody else like to be heard? Close the public hearing. Moved by Mike.
I'll second.
Second by Isaac. Discussion?
Committeeman,
Roll call.
Committeeman Ackerman,
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes. Ordinance number 3.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean State of New Jersey, authorizing the acceptance of a land donation known as Block 284, Lot 61, on the tax map of the Township of Lakewood, Wayne Street.
Open the meeting to the public.
Shlomo Klein. It's not right what he's doing over here. I see there's a guy that is donating land to the township. Could have donated it to the shul, he could have donated it for a park. He's donating, I think it's 18,000 square feet. And he's donating it to the township, that tomorrow the township will turn around and sell it for public sale. That's how it looks like. So if that's the case, the guy needs to be institutionalized for doing that. So taking advantage of it, that's how it looks like the ordinance is what's being done. I'm sure it's not like that, but what I'm
Correct.
saying.
It's a parcel that I believe is wet. He owed some taxes on it, did not want the parcel, did not want to pay the taxes on it. So rather than have it go into foreclosure, he asked the township if we would accept it. And that's what we're doing.
Why is it better than this way over just closing the property?
It was his
Better
decision.
for us, because it doesn't cost us any money for advertising and legal and all that stuff.
Why is it better for him?
You know, things anyway. Maybe he gets a tax deduction, I can't speak to the state of his mind, I can tell you what we do.
But there's no land swaps or anything like that for this.
Nope, this is a straight ahead individual. He came to us, we didn't go to him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one thing to say.
Go ahead.
It's gotta be on this ordinance and name and address, please.
and I don't mean this in negative, I'm just saying, very important. Our township gives the impression, I'm not talking about personal people, I'm talking about the township in a whole, gives the impression like the guys that go for the handouts, okay? The guys that go for the handouts, okay? Lakewood has always been the one begging for funds, and by the way, we have enough money to support ourselves, okay? And I'll just say that the reason, I'm just asking, it could get wrong, but the reason why someone is donating land is because we make an impression like we're the guys who need donations. That's the thing. And I think it's very important that the ones that are schnorrers are okay, shouldn't make us look like the ones that are self-sufficient look like people that go for handouts. That's just what I think.
Thanks for your opinion. If Aaron comes up, the other three just have to come up too, so.
Well, I want to know Stacy knows it for sure.
Name and address, please, Aaron.
Aaron, I just want to put this down to you. Just wanted to know, what is it going to cost the township to maintain this, now that the township has it on their, once you accept that gift? I was wondering, also, why would someone give away land? And now you answered that question, but what's it going to cost us really at the end of the day?
Nothing. I mean, it costs us, whatever it costs us to own the property, we're not going to be doing anything with it. So it's not going, I believe it's wet, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to remain in its natural state.
Nothing has to be done to that?
Nope.
Nothing while growing on it that's going to have to be maintained?
Wetlands are not supposed to touch anything like that, so.
Well, it will cost us money, it's our money.
Going once? No, all right, we'll close the public hearing. Have a motion?
Yeah.
Moved by Mike.
I'll give everybody else an opportunity to say no, I'll second it.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman,
Yes.
Committeeman Delia,
Yes.
Mayor Cox.
Yes.
Ordinance carries.
Okay, ordinance is first reading, public hearing for November 29th.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 11, Traffic, Section 11-13, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Lakewood, 1999. This is Henry Street and Cedar Street.
I'll move it.
Moved by Isaac,
Second.
seconded by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman,
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Mayor Cox.
Yes.
Ordinance carries second reading and public hearing for November 29th. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 12, Building and Construction, Section 12-3, Building Contractors Insurance of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Lakewood, 1999, assessing damages to contractors.
I'll move it.
Second by Isaac, seconded by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman,
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Mayor Cox.
Yes.
Ordinance carries second reading and public hearing set for November 29th, 2008.
Do you have correspondence?
None.
No correspondence. Motion to approve the list. Moved by Isaac, seconded by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman,
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Mayor Cox.
Yes. Any comments from committee members? Motion to adjourn.
So made.
Second.
Good night, everybody. Get home safely. Thanks for coming. I have to call my daughter back first, I'm sorry.
No, I just know that there must be really busy campaigning tonight.
I thought, no, I don't know.
After the elections, we're getting the rule restrictions from the
Hey, kiddo, just ended the meeting. What's up?
After the elections, we're not doing anything out of the window.
Yeah, it's up to you. What do you prefer? If you're not feeling good, we'll want to go somewhere. I still have some of that consultation that, from Raymond.
Well, I'm just going to D for that little triangle line. And I've got something for you.
Oh, we were right on the end.
Yeah.
I gotta be up here in the morning. All right, well, that sounds good when you get home.
Raise question.
That's the problem. We have to vote for it.
After the elections, are the master plan road restrictions goes out the window? Master plan has outside of Lakewood, the master plan. The rules adjust 70, we don't coordinate, so they got that. That is right. Yes, I thought. You're not expensive.